Do not attempt to adjust your set. This is a Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin. It cannot be stopped, and it is the only free voice left on the net. Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. So, in today's Skyrim mod video on PS4, I'm going to attempt to provide some help to console players, mainly PlayStation, as the mod is the newest here, as other platforms obviously have had it for quite a while. But for the mod XP32, on where it should be placed in the mod load order, that is because there is conflicting information with recent ported mods that state that the mod should be placed at the very top of the load order. However, in the research that I've done, it has been the exact opposite of that, with it saying that the mod should be placed near the very bottom. Now, for those unaware, XP32, as per my understanding, is a mod that changes the skeleton in the game that takes and makes it possible for like body physics, new animations, and is also now required for some of the recent armor ports that we have been getting, and clothing mods, which I count as being one and the same. Now, before you get any further into this video though, I want to make it perfectly clear, especially for those of you newer to my channel, that I am by no means an expert on this game. At the end of the day, I am nothing more than a gamer, the same as you. And while I do my best to try to make certain that the information that I am providing to you is correct, that it is accurate, that doesn't mean that I don't make and have made mistakes and could do so again. Nothing in this video should be taken as 100% fact. So, what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you into SHAREfactory. That way it'll be easier for me to be able to cover the information that I've found, and I want to make it perfectly clear that anything that is helpful to you in this video is not the credit of me whatsoever. It is completely and solely the credit of the people that is providing the information. So, with that said, let's head into SHAREfactory, and then I'll join you back here in the game, and I'll go over a few of my closing thoughts and my experience with XP32. So first up, from Bethesda Net itself, this is the Xbox version of the mod, so a little bit different from the one that we have, but I would assume that the same would be true for PlayStation. For the mod XP32 Maximum Skeleton plus Realistic Ragdolls and Force, it states that the load order place as low as possible in your load order. Also, incompatibilities with XP32 is anything that changes the skeleton.nif, and this is the same information that if you Google it, you can find on Google. Next up, from Reddit, a user on Reddit was asking where the XP32 mod should be placed in load order because something called loot, which is my understanding is correct, is a PC mod that automatically places mods in your load order for you, is placing it higher up. And this user commented that there is only like 2 or 3 niche mods that should override XP32. It only really matters if something tries to overwrite the same files that XP32 does. And of course, for those of you newer to Skyrim, understand that mods lower in the load order will overwrite mods that are higher up, meaning again, this is indicating that XP32 should be placed lower. Just like this next comment, which does go into a little bit more detail about what can happen if a skeleton is placed incorrectly, where it states, make sure nothing is overriding skeleton.nif. There are some mods that can do this, like Realistic Ragdolls and Force, and it will cause bugs with mods that rely on XPNSE, and that's another type of skeleton mod similar to XP32 if I'm understanding correctly. Like the example, simple dual sheath won't fit the right attachment points, and the left-hand sheathed items will end up floating along on the floor. Now finally, if I recall correctly, this was not from Reddit, this was from a different site. I don't recall which one, as originally I only screenshotted these for myself when I was researching XP32 before deciding that then I'd go ahead and put them into this video. So sorry I do not still have the links. But in any case, this is going along with something that I read in a mod description, and does make sense, where it says that the skeleton mod should be placed always above any armor, bodies, or animation mods that require it, and I did discuss this more in the game. So according to the information that you just saw in SHAREfactory that I included in this video, and that isn't all the information that I found that I had saved for myself, it's just the ones I thought was the most helpful. the majority of it does state that XP32 or skeleton mods in general should be placed rather low in the load order, and there was one that I'll include if I remember, if I still have it when I go in there and shoot that part for you guys, that did state though that there are some mods to be placed underneath it, which I do want to cover here, as that was why I originally had XP32 placed very low in the load order, because of the mod Realistic Water 2, which was ported to PlayStation by mod author Morris Umbra. And in that mod description, if I recall what it said exactly, it said something along the lines of that the realistic water should be placed before XP32 and animation mods, but after all other mods, even gameplay mods. Now, to me, that definitely sounds like if the mod description is stating that Realistic Water 2 should be placed before XP32, but after all other mods, then that means the skeleton mod should be placed... That's not the skeleton mod I was talking about, I don't believe it. That the skeleton mod should be placed rather low in the load order. And it does kind of cover something that I did find. I wish I could remember what the website was, as it was a while back. It wasn't Reddit, it was a different one. Maybe Quora? That's the name of the site. I'm sorry, I don't recall the exact one, but I will include the screenshot that I saved when I put that part together later on. That it did state that the skeleton mod, the only things to be under it would be animation mods, which the Realistic Water 2 also stated. It also stated armor mods. Now, I don't believe, though, that this is all armor mods. I think it's only armor mods that rely on the skeleton in order to function correctly, which would be like the last few that I've showcased from the mod author Glupentino. And again, I do apologize if I'm not saying the author's name correctly. I'm probably not. People that's been with this channel long enough know I mispronounce it all the time, so that's just me. In any case, my experience with the PSO mods of Glupentino's that I have showcased is with XP32 placed near the very bottom of my load order, and then the armor mod placed dead last. It's worked perfectly fine. The only one that I've had crashing with was Spider, and I do believe that it is the mod itself that is causing those crashes, that there is something wrong possibly with the port. I know that I did get a comment from one other viewer that was also having issue with that same mod. But I had tested where Glupentino said in their mod description, because I don't know if it's a he or a she, so in their mod description they stated that XP32 should be placed at the top, which goes against everything that I've read in the research that I've done. But I tried it there, and what I found in my game was with XP32 at the top, I was far more prone to crashing. Placed near the very bottom, I didn't have that issue, or at least not as much as Skyrim is in general for crashing. So, the very bottom of my load order, for those that might be curious, is XP32, racial body morphs, and finally, first-person animation. And I'll get into racial body morphs in a minute, but if I'm showcasing one of these PSO armors, they go dead last, and those are actually the only armor mods. The other armor mods that I have, I don't require the skeleton for one, they work perfectly fine without it, and they are placed higher up in my load order. I only placed the PSO armor mods at the very bottom because they did state that it should be placed after the skeleton mod. Now, racial body morphs, which is changes up like the height and like the shape of the body on some characters, so like orcs are a lot more muscular and stuff. When I researched that, because it wasn't exactly clear, the mod description makes it sound like it has a skeleton as well, and so there would be a conflict there. But when I did research on that, I got conflicting information. Some said that racial body morphs does have a skeleton, others said it did not. For the hell of it, just to see what would happen, I've been testing the two of them running together with XP32 first, racial body morph second, and it's been running perfectly fine like that for me. Now, as for my experience with the two versions that we currently have of XP32 available on PlayStation, as I have tested both of them, the original version, which has been here for a while now and was uploaded by, I think it was Morris Umbra, or it was under one of his various names. I can't be certain without going and checking, as there's a lot of ports by different authors, and he's several of them. But in any case, that one I can say 100% it does work. you could definitely see the difference in animation, the way the character would draw the sword from the back instead of the hip. NPCs did the same. Children that would have wooden swords, instead of them being on their hip, was on their back. 100% you could see it worked, and it does work with racial body morphs. Now, the recent one that's just been uploaded a few days ago, and I've been testing with the fixed scripts by mod author KikoPorts PSN, I am assuming that this one is working. It's the one that's been active when I've been showcasing the PSO mods for you, and with the exception of Spider, which I do not believe the skeleton had anything to do with that crashing, that is that mod. The other two mods function perfectly fine with the fixed script XP32, and I'm assuming that it wouldn't if the mod wasn't active. However, I must say I don't actually see any change. Like the NPCs walking here right now, I see no difference in them, so I can't visually tell that this version of the mod is working, but I assume that it is. So in closing, if you are somebody that is using XP32 and you don't have it placed near the bottom of the load order, I would say if it's working fine for you where it is, there's no need to change your load order just because of what you've heard here. If it isn't broken, there's no need to potentially break it. This video is made for people like even myself, because that's why I had to research it, that don't know where to put the mod. I can share my experience because I have tested it in both places, and that I found having it high up in the load order.
Donkey. How can I help?
Did she just pet that cat? That's a first. I found having it high up in the load order caused for me crashing, where having it low in the load order did not. But at the end of the day, mod authors obviously know much more than I do. I just do find it odd this particular one is going against what seems to be in the community of PC players, at least, the norm of they're suggesting it to be at the very bottom of the load order. It's even that way on Bethesda, yet in this particular mod author's ports that they have created, they say for it to be at the top. So I hope that this video is helpful. Again, in closing, don't take anything here as 100% fact. I could be wrong about all of this. Again, at the end of the day, I'm nothing more than a gamer. But I am trying to provide help to those of you in the console community, especially PlayStation, because I know that we don't get it very often. So, I hope that this did help you out. Thanks for watching. Take care. This has been a Streaming Freedom Video Bulletin. Peace out.